Today I'm continuing my new series of complete guides to every Stardew Valley character with Elliott. I've already done Shane, which you should check out if you're interested, and comment a crab emoji down below if you enjoyed this video. Without further ado, let's jump straight into a complete guide about our favorite redheaded bachelor. Elliott lives alone in a cabin on the beach. He is a writer who dreams of one day writing a magnificent novel. He is a sentimental romantic with a tendency to go off onto flowery, poetic tangents. When he can afford it, he enjoys a strong beverage at the Stardew Saloon. Could a humble farmer such as yourself be the inspiration Elliott is looking for? There's only one way to find out. These are the official words used to describe Elliott in Dev Update 12. Elliott, aka our hopeless romantic writer boy, was born on Fall 5th. Fans guess him to be anywhere from 27 to 35-ish, and I'm guessing, along with many others, that he's around 30, based off of his attitude and also the fact that he just looks a little bit older. And he lives in his own cabin on the beach in the south of town. He visits the clinic yearly for his checkup with Harvey on summer 9th, and Elliott doesn't have any family in Pelican Town, but he is friends with Willie and Leah. He will dance with Leah at the flower dance if neither of them are dancing with the player. Something I should note before jumping into his schedule is that if it's raining, that schedule overrides all of the others, so keep that in mind when you're looking for Elliott. Spring 15, if the bus service is restored, you can find Elliott around 11 a.m., boarding the bus to Calico Desert to attend the Desert Festival. At around 11:40, he will stand at the cliffside south of the racing line, and then around 1:40 a.m., which is a little over 12 hours later, he will board the bus back to the valley and probably just barely make it home before passing out. If he is at the Desert Festival as a vendor, then about 10 after 11 he will board the bus to Calico Desert. At 11:30 he arrives at his booth, and at 12 a.m. he leaves his booth and boards the bus back to the valley. If it is raining, which does override all of his other schedules, then all day he will be inside of his house and inaccessible. On Thursdays and Fridays, if the player has at least 6 hearts with Elliott, at 8 a.m. he will be at home. At 11:30 he will leave home and go to Pierre's general store, and then around 5:30 p.m. he will leave Pierre's and head home for the night. Friday and Sunday, if no player has 6 hearts with Leah, then at 8 a.m. he will be at home. At 11 he will leave his cabin to stand on the docks next to Willie's house, and at 5 p.m. he will leave the docks to visit the Stardew Saloon. At around 11:40 p.m. he will leave the saloon so he can return home for the night. His regular schedule is 8 a.m. at home, 12 p.m. leaving his cabin to stand on the beach south of his house. At around 1:30 he goes from the beach to his cabin again. At 3 he leaves his cabin yet again to stand on the bridge just north of the beach. And at 6 p.m. he leaves the bridge to return home for the night. During the summer, on summer 9th, of course, he goes to the clinic, and at 10:30 he will leave his house to go there. At 1:30 he will move from the waiting room inside the examination room inside the clinic, and at 4 p.m. when the clinic closes, he will leave and return home for the night. During the Green Rain events, he will be in the saloon all day long. If it's raining, he is still inside the house all day long, despite the fact that it is summer. And Thursday and Friday, if any player has at least 6 hearts with Elliott, he will do his normal schedule of being at home, just like I mentioned before. The same goes for Friday and Sunday if no player has 6 hearts with Leah. And if you do have 6 hearts with Leah, then his schedule is the same as it was in the spring. As for his regular schedule, at 8 a.m. he is at home, but at 11:30 a.m. he will leave home and head to the forest south of Leah's cottage. At around 6 p.m. he will leave the forest to return home for the night, and he should arrive home by about 7:40 to go to bed. During the fall, his schedule is much of the same, except for his regular schedule, so this doesn't include Friday and Sunday. At 8 a.m. he will leave his home to head to the library at around 11:30, and then around 5:30 he'll leave the library to return home for the night. At 6:40 he returns home and stands by his bonsai tree, and at about 9 o'clock he leaves his bonsai tree and walks over to his writing desk. His winter schedule is a little bit more in-depth than the other seasons, seeing as the night market does throw off his schedule just a little bit. So on winter 17th and 8 a.m. he is home, but around 11:30 he will leave his home and head to the museum. At 4:50 he will leave the library to attend the night market, and around 1 a.m. he will leave the night market and return to his cabin. On winter 12th and 13th, he will leave his cabin to stand on the docks next to Willie's house at about 8 a.m. Around 5 p.m., he will leave the docks to visit Stardew's saloon, and by 12 a.m., he leaves the saloon to return home for the night. His regular winter schedule is to stay at home at 8 a.m. Around 11:30, he leaves his home and heads to the library, and at 5:30 p.m., he leaves the library to return home for the night. Once you're married, if the bus service is restored, he will leave home to attend the desert festival and stand on the cliff overlooking the oasis at 8:30. And at 12:30 a.m., he leaves the desert festival and heads home to the farm. On Mondays at 8:30, he leaves the farmhouse and heads to the beach. And by about 5 o'clock that night, he's leaving the beach so that he can head home to the farm. Elliott's schedule after marriage is pretty boring, to be honest, but at least he's very dependable. Speaking of dependable, Elliott has very specific lines for his unique dialogue if you give him varying levels of liked or hated gifts, which starts us on the gifting section. This specifically refers to the gifts that you give him on his birthday, but not to the gifts that you give him during any other time of the year. Those lines will be discussed as given with the different sections. For loved, liked, or even neutral gifts, Elliott will respond with, "I'm honored that you would remember my birthday, thank you." But if it's a disliked or hated gift, Elliott will respond with, "Another year gone by, another gray hair. I suppose this gift can commemorate my decline." Which honestly is such a writer way of saying, "I hate this gift," and it so fits with his personality. His unique loved gifts outside of the universal ones are as follows: crab cakes, duck feathers, lobsters, pomegranates, squid ink, and tonka soup. He has unique responses for duck feathers and squid ink, as well as Stardew tea. For Elliott's unique responses to his loved gifts, this is his average loved gift response: your name, and then this is a beautiful gift, thank you. If it's duck feathers, however, he will say, "This will make a beautiful quill. I feel inspired already." And if it's ink, he says, "Ah, a bottle of fine ink. A writer can never have too much. And it's quite expensive," which is true. And then he thanks you for it. And then, of course, if you give him Stardew tea, he says, "Ah, what a gift. The aroma alone is inspiring." As for his liked gifts, Elliott has less unique replies to those, but he has almost as many liked gifts in total. The gifts themselves include all of the universals, with the exception of amaranth, pizza, and rainbow shells, all books, and all fruit, except for pomegranates and salmon berries. His unique liked gifts are octopus and squid. His responses are, "This is for me marvelous," which is his average response to most liked gifts. And if it's any book, he will say, "Ah, a book. Yes, perhaps the prose within these pages will offer a new insight. Thank you." Moving on now to his neutral gifts, they will gain one of two responses from Elliott. "Oh, a present, thank you," or if it's any forage from the beach, except for seaweed, "Ah, you've been doing some beach combing, a fine hobby, thank you." And he has quite a few of the gifts in question, all of the universal neutral gifts except for books, squid ink, and duck feathers, of course, all eggs except for void eggs, and of course all fish except for carp, lobster, octopus, sea cucumber, snail, and squid. His unique neutrals are rainbow shell and sea urchin. If you ever hear the response from Elliott of, "I'm not a huge fan of this," then you probably just handed him a disliked gift. Don't worry, you won't do it again after I tell you the full list of his dislikes, and after that I will also be telling you his hated gifts to avoid. As you might have guessed, he dislikes all of the universal ones except for fish, and he also dislikes all milk. His unique dislikes are as follows, and it's quite a list, so you might want to write it all down: chanterelles, common mushrooms, daffodil, which I found out the hard way about in my 100 days video, dandelion, ginger, hazelnut, holly, leek, magma cap, morels, pizza, purple mushrooms, snow yams, wild horseradishes, and winter root. Pizza is honestly the weirdest thing on that list, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure I can romance him knowing that he doesn't like it. I mean, pizza is literally everything. Aside from that disturbing realization, Elliott has a few things that he absolutely hates, and I'm not going to lie, his responses to them are low-key very funny. The items are universal hates, except for the sea urchin from earlier, amaranth, quartz, salmonberry, sea, and super cucumbers. And if you give him a sea or super cucumber, he will actually give it back to you. Although no matter what quality it was before, when he gives it back, it will be a normal quality. His responses are iconic and as follows. This item gives me a terrible feeling, I'll have to dispose of it. And if it's a sea cucumber or a super cucumber, he will literally say, and I'm not joking, this is the actual quote, "Ag is still wriggling, get that abomination away from me." Which, honestly, I'm sorry, I have to laugh because that is just such an Elliott thing for him to say. As for movie-related favorites, in case you have the theater unlocked, his are as follows. He loves the movie Mysterium, and he likes the natural wonders exploring our vibrant world, The Brave Little Sapling, The Miracle at Cold Star Ranch, the Zuzu City Express, and Wumpus, but he dislikes It Howls in the Rain and Journey of the Prairie King the motion picture. As for snacks to buy for him to eat during the movie, he loves cappuccino mousse cakes, Stardrop sorbets, truffle popcorn, and he likes apple slices, chocolate popcorn, hummus snack packs, ice cream sandwiches, jasmine tea, kale smoothies, panzanella salads, salmon burgers, and star cookies. He dislikes everything else. Now that the gifting session is over, let's discuss how to trigger his heart events. This section will contain some minor spoilers, so if you want to avoid those, then skip to the next section. If you're still here, then let's get straight into triggering those heart events so that you don't miss a single line of adorable Elliott dialogue. For the 2 heart events, you need to enter Elliott's cabin while he's there, and then to trigger the 4 heart event, you need to enter the Stardrop Saloon between 3 p.m. and 10 p.m. when Gus is there. Gus is almost always there when the saloon is open, so this should be fairly easy to achieve, but if you want to be certain, wait until around 6ish. 6 heart event is triggered yet again by entering Elliott's home while he is there. The 8 heart event can be triggered by simply opening your mailbox, because you will receive a letter from Elliott, and then you need to visit the museum between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. It doesn't need to be the same day, but bonus points from this gamer if it is. And for his unique 10 Hearts event, you need to go to the beach on a day when it's not raining, between 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. A letter will be sent to you, but it's not needed to trigger the event. However, I do recommend you probably need to read it first. For the 14 Heart event, you need to exit the farmhouse between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. on a day where there are no festivals occurring for the next 8 days. Which sounds hard, I know, but I promise it really won't be because most festivals are pretty spread out. With that said, this section of possible spoilers has concluded, which means we're on the home stretch of everything to know about Elliott. All that's left is a little bit of trivia about our favorite hopeless romantic writer boy. In Secret Note 7, it is confirmed that he is one of the 3 older bachelors in Pelican Town. Even though the letter for his 10 Heart event says to meet him on a sunny day, it will still trigger if it's snowing, which is kind of interesting. I guess Elliott isn't particularly picky about the weather patterns. Concerned Ape also added a custom marriage acceptance dialogue at the flower dance, which is so Elliott coded and frankly adorable. Comment down below if you've seen his new dialogue, because I haven't, and I low-key want to know on a scale of 1 to 10 how cute it is. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video and subscribed so you don't miss the next one, and don't forget to comment your suggestions for who you want the next All About video to be about. Bye!